Well, okay. Sinadapi. I was just enjoying my dancing in my living room. Well, Sinadapi means how are you? Nistu Nidaniko Makoyo Sakoyi, and my English name is Theda NewBreast. I'm going to be with you for the next hour. We're just shy of 2 days with Native Wellness Institute's Power Hour. On Sunday, we'll be celebrating 1 year, and so we'd like to invite all of you to, come and join us on Sunday. And today, I'd like to start with a prayer, just because I think that what we've learned in this past year is that everything is solved when you pray. That the prayers are your shield. They're your shield to thriving. They're your shield to bringing joy. They're your shield, and they keep out things that we don't need to have a good life. So I'm just learning. I'm taking the Blackfeet Community College language class with the esteemed Leonard Bastine and Audrey Bastine, and we're in our 4th week. I've been listening, but you have to listen to what I've learned so far. So, hayo stipatapi no gaikimokit, no gaspomokit. Hayo stipatapi. Spumukana kita piwa. Hayo stipatapi. Spumukana nanamska. On both sides of the medicine line. Hayo stipatapi. Spumukana moto keeks. On both sides of the medicine line. I'll strapatapi, spumukana ganaxtimada, on both sides of the medicine line. I'll strapatapi, spumukana ganaxtimada, on both sides of the medicine line. I'll strapatapi, spumukana kami poismanix, both sides of the medicine line. I'll strapatapi, spumukana sixikai, kainai, Abatsa pikani and amskapi pikani. I'll strapatapi spumukana, all of the mainstream Europeans and settlers that have come here and settled, give them a blessing. Help them to be better people. I'll strapatapi, we ask special prayers for all of the poka, the babies in utero that are going to be born pretty soon. We ask that they come into a brave new world where we're conscious of the earth, our air, and our water. Ayostipatapiyo. We ask special prayers for those who are suffering from diabetes and from cancer, or from a bad attitude, that you can readjust them back to harmony so that they can have a long life and see their great-grandchildren with joy. Ayostipatapiyo. Now, this is a word I'm just learning, and we call it the backbone of the world. And I'm saying this because never make fun of people when they're first learning to speak. That's a boarding school behavior. But the word is ayostipatapi, spumukana mogakikin, and that means the backbone of the world, which is the Rocky Mountains that go along from Canada all the way down into the United States. So, ayostipatapi, nugaikimokit, nugaspumokit. So, anya, that means, anya means, doesn't mean onions. It means I'm finished. So I'm just sharing with you, because our instructor said to pray as often as possible in your language. And so I know more, but I just thought I would show you what I learned. And today's theme is so what do we do now? I mean, like, what do we do now in this transition with the pandemic, or with our hibernation, or with our fast in this past year? And I decided to call it, because most people call me Auntie. Not only on this reservation, but all the reservations, the 8 reservations in Montana, they call me Auntie. And then all of my coastal friends call me Auntie. And my Crow, they call me Kala, Grandma. But most of the time it's Auntie. And then I was just thinking, one of the beauties about indigenous, or about tribal, is that we, you guys all have that one auntie, right? Whenever she comes into the room, we all sit up straight. That one auntie? Oh, cool. I see some of my relatives on. Marcella. So I just say, or we have that one auntie, like when we're going along in our life, that she gave us tough love. I call it tough love. And it's that one auntie that will, because they love us, they tell us the truth. And what do they say? They don't baby us. So I was just, so those of you who are on, I want you just, in the comments, please name the aunties. Just say the names of the aunties that helped raise you and help guide you on your journey today. I was, and a lot of us, I was born in 1956. And so, I apologize. There's, on our reservation, Wi-Fi is always a challenge. And for today, something's happening where we don't know if, like around here, we have, we used to have Wild Blue. We used to have 3 Rivers. And our tribe is trying to get broadband for, and hopefully for all of our elders. But if I go in and out, I'll just, it says, reconnecting. So I was talking to you about our aunties, our aunties, and most of our tribes, were born to our mother and our father. And if you were blessed, I had all 4 grandparents. They were there at least until I was 7.5. They were all present. And then all of my uncles were my other fathers. And so I think about that. So think about, and then all of my aunties were also my mothers. And my mom was even telling me, like in the olden days. In the olden days, like when, they tried to starve us, or we didn't have enough food, there was mutual breastfeeding. So that a lot, if someone had really good milk and someone may not have had good milk, that was often the aunties would breastfeed 2 or 3 babies at the same time when they had good milk. So just so in that way, like feeding, I just like to go over some things about why our aunties are so important and why we should listen to them. And because the title of this power hour is what do we do now? And so like I said, there's hundreds of us. I think 540 people signed up for our language class, and they're trying to learn our language so that it doesn't disappear. Hi, we're back. I'm trying to think, okay, where could I stand for the tower and I have good Wi-Fi? This is amazing. So there's some things that I wanted to start with, and it has to do with relationships, because I'll tell you, I have had the best advice from my aunties. And so those of you out there, and those that are courageous enough, please put in the chat or the comments if you've had more than one relationship. And if you're courageous, put the number of relationships that you had. And don't remember, this is about forgiveness and it's about renewal. And so I was just teasing because some of you may have had more than just one relationship. And that's, I'd like to start just with that kind of anti-advice. I was thinking about one of the young men, Blue Eagle. He's out in California, and we always visit, and he always comes to healthy relationship training, and and I just remember him telling me that I gave the best anti-advice about stop playing with women, stop playing around with women like they're a toy, and start treating women like they're sacred. Something to that effect I said to him a few years ago, and he goes, man, you hit me in my heart, or you hit me in something. He said, from that time on, I really just looked at not only how I treated my daughter, how I treated the mothers, but how I treated the women in my life. He said, I really started to look at them and some would say like to objectify, but to really look at them as sacred and to treat them with the respect. And so I just think about that example of that anti-advice. But I wanted to, I was thinking, wow, tomorrow is at, I think it's 3:47 a.m. is the equinox. It is the officially in the universe with our sun, with our moon, with all of the stars and everything that we have. It's the beginning of what we would call spring. And the equinox, so this is like a beautiful power hour. And I'm just standing, I'm near, see where I'm at? I'm right on the frozen lake. I want to make sure I get a signal with the Wi-Fi, because I live on the res. We have rural and we don't have city Wi-Fi. Anyhow, think about this relationship, and and I say to you, practice with growing your own harmony of self-care, and that you show up as a better partner in these relationships. Often, I look at the hurt and the pain, and if we come from a family where, especially in a lot of our families here on this reservation, like my parents, 82, my mom, and if my dad was still alive, he'd be 83. But a lot of their ways to treating each other more respectful were severed when they threw them in boarding school. And they didn't have choice. I mean, my dad suffered. He couldn't even speak English. And then my mother tells us the stories now. So we didn't have that strong parent showing us how to have a healthy relationship. So if you come from that, what I'd like you to start thinking about is the first step, and this is just anti-advice, is the first step is how you take care of yourself. And how you show up as a better partner. How you show up with good communication skills. How you show up with the ability to self-modulate. How you show up, and it's almost like a spiritual maturity. It's more about having an emotional IQ that is where you can express yourself emotionally and not just shut off or shut down. So think about that. Think about, what do you do now? And I was, there's such an evolution. Like I was just thinking about all the couples that I've been in communication with where they redefined their relationship during the pandemic. They fell in love with each other, or they decided mutually that now that they were spending 24/7 together, that they really didn't like each other anymore. And so they, as friends, separated. or as in some situations, it was volatile. But in these relationships, like what to do now, I would really encourage you to work on the self relationship first. And I say the self is, your mind, body, and spirit. I was thinking, just on a harmony. Think about what makes you happy, what brings you into harmony. What even like what makes one of the great things about this time is that we all, those of us who cooked, but we relearned to cook. I was just I've been now that we have 2 shots in 2 weeks, that's kind of like around here 95% of us in this tribe have been 2 shots in 2 weeks. So we're opening up a little bit. But when you go around, now you can, oh God, I was just thinking, what I hear over and over is that we can hug. And that, just go out and hug your cousins, go out and hug, the first, I saw my one cousin at the store and I'd only been in my bubble. And she had 2 shots 2 weeks and so did her husband. And we hugged. It was like, I got tears just because we could hug. Because, we're hugging people. And I was just thinking about that beautiful, one of the self-care things that you could go do right now, besides going out and hugging the 2 shots in 2 weeks people, is to actually, go out and visit. I was just making, next week, I've been just staying home for a solid year. I haven't gone anywhere. So I'm going to go over and do a speaking engagement at the Healing Tree in Spokane. And on the way, I'm going to go visit friends. I'm looking forward to visiting Rosemary Kaye near the hot springs. I'm going to get in the hot springs because the hot springs here was, they would say, holy water. Even all the tribes here, it was a safe place. In Montana, none of the tribes could war. None of the tribes would hurt each other. They, when they went there, because they knew it was a spiritual place, and in that spiritual place, they wanted to make it spiritually safe so that people could get into the mineral waters and the hot waters. So I'm going to go visit, and I'm going to go visit friends that, yes, we've been on Zoom, but it hasn't been the same. I'm going to go visit friends. My first friend, well, it's like I've known him for 25 years. My other friend, sheesh, I think I've known her since we went to the Prince Conference in 1982. We've been friends. And so I'm going to go visit her. And then I'm going to do my work. And then I'm going to go up to Colville and I'm going to visit my friends there that I need to visit. And so in this self-care, and I'm holding some sweetgrass because, I took a risk. I was sharing with you what I learned in my language when I prayed earlier, and I always get sweetgrass is always our main medicine. And I was told by many people, the essential workers I've been working with since last March, that even when we're seeing each other on Zoom, they light a smudge and I light a smudge. But Dr. Annette Squintimkin said, when you smell sweetgrass like this, even though it's we have the ability in our mind, she goes, oh, I can smell that sweetgrass. So I hope you can. I was just thinking, yay! I could make all kind. I could wear sweetgrass dress, sweetgrass. Wouldn't that be nice? Have a sweetgrass dress. So in this this AntiAdvice, I wanted to talk just about a couple of things about getting to know yourself as you are in this transformation during the pandemic. And because we've been through this a whole year and everybody has changed. Everybody has transformed into a new person because of the realizations and the things that they went through during this last year. And so in getting to know yourself, I was just thinking people have they've decided to live differently. They've decided to relocate. Along this lake, we have several of our young people who left the city and left apartments and left, confined areas and are coming out here. They're looking at building homes. They're looking at, so part of in this transformation and taking care of yourself is reevaluate how you live. Because the European or the settlers model of having a giant house that takes a lot of care may not be your idea. In self-care, because one of the things that we're seeing, which is really cool, is everybody's is building those tiny little homes and, and minimizing and just living in their tiny little homes and doing what they need to do and living more outside, exploring more outside and doing things in the woods, doing things outside. So think about that too. And we're just doing anti-advice. Early in the pandemic, you saw a lot of people cleaning house. And it's springtime because tomorrow's the equinox. We're all cleaning house. So clean your house physically, but clean your house mentally. Like get rid of the books, get rid of the clothes, get rid of the furniture, start new. We were on a Zoom training with the Potawatomi. Get new underwear, get new clothes, start fresh, start renewing, and when I say that, that means, since we started talking about relationships, think about what you've learned in your relationships so far. Think about the lessons that you learned and what you want, either the current relationship that you're in or how you want to explore renewal and starting a new relationship. And so think about this, and I was, think about, and even if you've been with your partner for 20, 30, 40 years, about courting each other. And if you're not, if you haven't been together that long, or you just met someone a couple years ago, are you, for a lot of women that, in the talking circles, they want to try again. A lot of the single mothers, a lot of the ones that are not happy with the relationship that they have now, they want to re-explore what a healthier relationship should be for them. And so I would say, think about courtship. And when you're thinking about it, I had these two young women, they were journalists that came to my home a couple days ago. And I just loved, because they were right in the middle of just starting some new relationships, and they hadn't thought about courtship. And so in the anti-advice, in courtship, someone has to earn you. Someone has to work to earn you. On both sides, but I've never been a man in my life, so I'm just coming from the female perspective. And someone, they have to earn you. So I would say, so a way to begin, and I was just thinking of this, because now that we can travel again, is you should go and spend 4 seasons where they come from. Spend fall, spend winter, spend spring, spend all of that with where they come from. And then they should also come to your area. And excuse me a moment, I'm having to go on my phone, I got to plug in. And so when they come to your area, when they come to visit you, they should also stay for 4 seasons. And it has to do with looking at the cycle of life, and you can see, because I was just thinking, you know, like in our tribal ways, some people don't appreciate going through all 4 seasons. They're not, and 4 seasons are, you know, in an indigenous way or in tribal way, they teach you the ceremonial cycles, they teach you the herbal plant medicine, they teach you the cycle of animals, they teach you the cycle of hunting, they teach you the cycle of us. You know, even now, like a lot of us, we might feel like we're that bear climbing out of the den or climbing out of the bear cave, and we are because we've been isolating, we've been in our homes, we've been in our bubble, and now you're coming out. So, and in this courtship, I would recommend that you do that and see how you get along. You know, see how you get along shoveling snow together. See how you get along in extreme heat if it's in, you know, the Southwest. See how you get along near the ocean. See how you get along hiking together on the mountain. And, you know, and I'm just going to encourage you to think outside the box, because I don't think courtship is just sitting and laying on a couch watching Netflix 24/7. That seems unhealthy. I think that that's something that you do every once in a while, but in this courtship, so let's continue with this anti-advice. Let them bring you flowers. Bring them flowers. Let them write you love poems. Write them a love poem. Let them write you letters. You write them a letters, even if you live in the same household. Write them a letter about what you appreciate about them. Write them a letter about the things that you love that they do. Write them a letter about the things that you don't like that they do and that you wish maybe there could be some change, you know, or write letters. Make things for them. You know, leave this courtship. I was listening to, yesterday we were on a Zoom and we were writing on the Gona pictures, but Casey Nicholson started playing the flute. Think about that flute. Those of you, you know, I was thinking, boy, we should just have flute lessons, and everyone could go out below your window and play for you some courtship songs, courtship music. Go out, dance together. One of the best things that you can do in courtship, and it's okay if one doesn't know how to dance, is to teach each other how to dance with each other again in courtship. I think about cooking together in courtship, because you can learn a lot about a person if you cook with them. But allow them, you know, and again, you control fiends. Those of you who just love to hold on to the reins and do all of the stuff that you need to do to control, let them. One of the most beautiful things you can do is, even though you know how to do it, watch them do it and just allow them to show you how they do it. Not to tell them this, what is the correct way or the right way. Get rid of that kind of thinking, you know. Something else in courtship is when you're recording, because I see that a lot of couples going out on date night are getting away for the weekend. Start to think about, in courtship, every night is date night. In courtship, every night is date night, not just once a month or once a week. Think about the words that you say to each other, how you call each other, the affectionate things that you say. And, you know, it's always, they say that, you know, criticism hardens and kindness softens. So think about, in this courtship, with what are we going to do now with either your current partners or even your coworkers. I've been noticing people that are going back to work, they're different people showing up because we just went back to school yesterday. No one has been at work or school. And so you have to, in courtship, be patient. Be patient with meeting the new person, even though you've known them. Be patient with them. One, if they've experienced loss and grief, during this pandemic. Be patient with them to who the new person that they are. They might have, we know who is kind of grumpy in the morning, and some people are grumpy in the afternoon. Get to know they may have changed their routine where they're not grumpy at all. So the courtship is not only romantic, but it's recording people. And as an auntie, and I'm just saying, when you go out and you meet people, visit with them to find out where they are. Make no assumptions. Make absolutely no assumptions. Visit with them where they are, and then start the renewal of the relationship there. I was just thinking about, because on the res, or you got a few thousand people live together for a long time. You all know each other's business. And so when you're recording, going out and seeing your cousins, concentrate on the good things. Concentrate on, like we had a lot of babies born. I mean, I guess in that bubble of the isolation, concentrate on the courtship around and the rites of passage of that child. Cecilia Fire Thunder, she does the placenta ceremony. There's actually the placenta ceremony where you have ceremony with that child that's born's placenta, and singing for its long life and praying for it. And then it's buried in the earth where that person will live, so that it's fortified. And there's all of these rites of passage that we can reignite in these courtships. I heard of another rite of passage is when the baby first laughs. When the baby first takes its first steps. When the baby first eats solid food after being breastfed. All of those rites of passage, we need to bring them back. And we need to bring them back to harmonize our people. I'm standing here because our Wi-Fi signal is probably coming off the mountain. And I was saying, geez, I look greasy, eh? We call it Indian over Olay. Because because I'll be 65. Indians look pretty good as they age, if they've taken good care of themselves. So in this courtship, I wanted to speak another auntie thing. And it has to do with forgiveness. It has to do with forgiveness of self. It has to do with forgiveness of others, and starting on a new foot, a new plane with all of your family and the people that you're going to meet. And remember, Avis Archambault, one of our elders from the Native Wellness Institute, Avis, I always she kind of resurrected and brought back talking circles, in the 70s. But Avis would always say, there's baby steps to forgiveness. And those baby steps, they might be, you get to a place in these baby steps of forgiveness where she called it just to let it be. So if someone has, in your estimate, betrayed you or done something wrong, and there needs to be forgiveness, and you're forgiving, there's a stage of just let it be, not necessarily, especially if it's forgive the unforgivable. And all of you know what that is in your life. There's some person or some situation in which they it's almost unforgivable. But I would encourage you to think about entertaining, even if, they say pray, take out tobacco. Take out for the next 15 days, and if it is a person that you need forgiveness with, take the tobacco out and pray for that person. And Avis would say, and then, take, just pray to let it be, which means you may not have forgiven it completely, but you're just going to let it be, and you're not going to let it interfere with the good person that you are and the good things that you need to take care of. So so think about forgiveness, and it's time. Forgive all your exes from Gallup, eh? Forgive all your exes from Fort Peck, eh? Forgive all your exes from, where's it? Denver, eh? It's about forgiving the past relationships that maybe had a rough go. And forgiving, and at work, because I was thinking about the one I'm working on, and I just been praying and praying is trying to forgive embezzlement. And I'm just gonna, knowing when you know the facts of someone, took a bunch of payroll and advancement and never paid it back, etc., etc. But when you know that and meet them, and maybe they have transformed and they're not embezzling anymore. And I was also thinking of that because there's a streak of honesty and a streak of kindness and a streak of helping each other that has happened because of this pandemic. And I'm just saying, people that normally didn't share at all. They weren't a collective agreement person. They didn't share. It was kind of like just me, my. And I now see that they have transformed into, asking, what do the elders need? What can I do to help the elders? Earlier, I just met, this is like the best news. I don't know why this is the best news, but some of the students at BCC want to adopt an elder and help them make some mini gardens for themselves to grow herbal plants and to grow food. And so I was selected. So they're coming out tomorrow. And I said, no, well, let's meet, because I said, I want to experiment, I want to experiment not only in food things, but herbal medicine. I know the medicines that grow around here, but I'd like to transplant sweetgrass and grow sweetgrass. And one of, near here, there's peppermint that grows, but it doesn't grow right here by my house. So I was thinking, I'd like to try to transplant some peppermint so I wouldn't have to go out and gather. It would just be out on my deck. So I just tell you, you want to know how to make an elder happy? Show them to grow their own sweetgrass, their own cedar, and even some of the breathing medicines. I was right before we got on, I was looking for bear root, and even I was thinking, this bear root, this saved. We've had close to 1,500 on this reservation recover from COVID. And we were sharing a lot of this bear root. It's breathing medicine, Miniguppy, all of that. So one of the things is help every elder grow their own bear root. Help every elder grow their own Miniguppy, or they call it horsemint, breathing medicine. And also in courtship, one of the things that, and this is the best thing that you could ever do is go out with your partner and braid sweetgrass. Go out with your partner and pick sage. Go out with your partner. I just love this plant because I think it, at least those who had a lot of phlegm when they had COVID, this medicine really helped them with their breathing. And then over at Colville, Andy Joseph was telling us that they'd bring those that had COVID into the sweat. And one of the medicines they'd put is this bear root on the rocks. and that when the people came out, they would spit up the phlegm and they could breathe better. You know, so so the courtship is, you know, one of the things, there's something about going out, let's see, what's the common medicine around here? We have sweet pine near here. You know, sweet pine grows at 4,500 feet, but it's I almost want to, this plant is, I've been courting this plant for a long time, because the same things that we do with plants, where we go out every year, we put out tobacco, we sing it a song, we talk to it, we build a relationship. That's the same thing you got to do in your relationships, is how you love a plant and how you court a plant. So there's so much to, and I'm trying to stand here so I could have the Wi-Fi, so I'm holding my iPhone because other things aren't working right now. But in this courtship, so I'll tell you about one plant, and I'm not going to name the plant because this isn't, it's a plant, that you learn over time. And so in this courtship, I was transferred the rights to pick that plant, about 7-8 years ago. So I started a courtship with that plant. I would go and, when I would see it, I would put tobacco out, pastas gone. And, you know, that's another thing, grow your own tobacco. But I would go and I would, all of the plants that grow along here, I go along and I put tobacco out. And I ask, it's an invitation to the plant to have a relationship with it. And if it could teach me about its healing powers. And I ask the plant, if whoever comes, if they could beckon others to come and learn, whoever I bring along, walking along here and grazing along the herbal medicines, that it would beckon them, and that could start a relationship with them also. And so this one plant, and that's near here, I dreamt about it. And this was 3 summers ago. And this is, you know, sometimes, you know, a person in your dreams, when you dream about a person, really pay attention, because those that are good for your heart and good for your being, they'll come into your dreams. And so this plant, it came into my dream. And, you know, sometimes when plants are, you know, songs come in your dreams. When a plant talks to you, it was just abrupt. It said, come get me today. And so when I woke up, I was like, whoa, that was my first, I knew it was some kind of mature thing. That was the first time that a plant came in my dream and said, come get me today. So I, you know, I got up and I got prepared, because you should always dress proper. You know, you're clean, you wear your, you know, your cloth dress, you wear your moccasin or your mucks or whatever, you know, so that you can dig roots. You know, you should braid your hair, just like, you know, our hair is our ancestors. You know, so my grandma, Auntie always said, you know, when you're braiding your hair, it's a ceremony. So you should always pray for whoever's hair you're braiding. These 3 strands, as you pray for their mind, their body, their spirit. And when you're braiding your own hair, it's a ceremony. Never do it quick. You know, even smudge yourself and pray for your own mind, body, and spirit. You know, and so this plant came in the dream, and so I cleared my schedule, and it was I would say a solo thing. It wasn't. It was just between me, Creator, a Stabatabiop, and that plant. And I got ready, and when I got my bucket and I had my shovel, but when I went over there, the plant talked to me again. And this is this is just like an example of courtship. The plant said to me, it said, take get some of that lake water and pour it around me, because this root that I was getting, when you just go in and rip me out of a dry area, it really hurts. So then I went and I got my bucket. I went down to the lake, and you never hurry. You just stay in the prayer. And I just prayed to the water. I got the water in the buckets, and I went down and I poured it around so that it was all moist. And before I said my prayers, even before I put down my tobacco and talked to that root for what I would be using it for. And when I poured it, then when I was able to, you can use a root digger, or there's kind of like these shovels that we use, it just easily came out. It easily came out, and I thanked that plant for its life. I thank that plant for the healing that it would do. I thank that plant for allowing me to enter into a treaty of relationship with this medicine and that herbal plant. So, and I'm saying that, I'm just giving that as an example, is that in this courtship, and I guess as Auntie, I'm talking to you in the new courtships of the new things that you're going to explore, because we're all brand new. And in the equinox, in the morning, I was, I don't want to set my alarm and wake up and just like say, equinox! But that's how I feel, because I can feel the energy of the equinox. Even now, I can't see all of you right now, but I can feel you. I can feel you. And so in this renewal, right, I've been starting to put, they're like little posties or stickers to myself, the things that I want to concentrate on. Like, I'm taking that language class, and I thought I'm going to study this as just as hard as I studied when I was in college. So it's, I'm old school. Like, my pronouns are she, her, and old school. So, like, I have on the words, the Blackfoot words that I want to concentrate on and use them in conversation, I put them on flashcards. Just like we started out with, saying the backbone of the world, Mogakikin, Mogakikin. And see, I have it on a flashcard over here. And I just been saying the prayer when I go out, when I look at all the mountain, Divide Mountain, when I look at Nenastico, Chief Mountain, when I look at all the mountains going into Canada, when I look at all the, Red Eagle, when I can look up into going to the Sun Road, I just say, Mokakikin, no Gyakimokit, no Gaspomokit. And that means help me, have pity on me. And, because I was just thinking, I refuse to let our language die. I refuse to let my ancestral language be tossed to the side for some outside language from another continent. I mean, I love English. I like to read. I like to articulate. And yes, I can do research like the settlers, but I'm not a settler. And I know that the treaties, this is AntiAdvice, in every treaty, there's a loophole in there that the treaty is only as good as long as there's a fluent speaker. And that's why they've gone, and they're patient. That's why they have 99-year leases. That's why they put you in boarding schools so that you'll marry out. And it's about, they wanted us to marry out. And that's why they made a blood quantum, so that once there is not the quantum, and once there's not the language, they can take everything. And that's why our language is so important. It's not only Daryl Kipp and it's congratulations to all of, all of the tribal colleges in Montana have a wonderful language program. And now, since we all know how to use, or most of us use technology, we can get online and study the language. And that is the greatest self-care that you can do as an Indigenous person, is to, and not just the numbers and the colors, learn like that, the backbone of the world. Learn like the other word, and I got it over there that I'm working on, is Atsimoyikani. Atsimoyikani, and it means spirituality. And I was just thinking, what a beautiful word. What an absolutely beautiful Blackfoot word. So I put it up on so at my desk, I look at that word every day. And I say it, Atsimyoikani. So I say to you, in our remaining time, the theme today was, so what now? So a couple things as we're winding down is, I have heard so many people consider career change. I have heard so many people now say, well, now that I can get all the work done and I'm at home, why can't people stay home more? Why can't they get the work done at home? Rethink that. And also, for those of us in recovery, because we're passionate. We're passionate in recovery. Those of us, we figured out we don't have to be working as hard as we've been working. And I'll just say that personally, and then just with our colleagues, we're reevaluating playing and having as fun just as much as we're working. And sometimes, with my work, I don't see it as work. I mean, I just really, because I think our work is just relationships and healing. And I love healing, and I love working with people who want to better themselves and to practice more wellness. But in this time, when you look at this past year, jot down the goals, and you may not have refined them. Like some people are going back to school. Some people are learning to sew. Some people are learning to cook. Some people want to, they want to go to the Grand Canyon. Some people want to climb Mount Everest. Some people want to climb Mount Shasta. Whatever those symbolic goals are for you, get into action. Get into action and start doing it. And it's not, because like when you're thinking about it, that's not action. I mean, because you can think about planting a garden, but that doesn't mean the garden grows. You have to put action into it. And whatever small piece of action that it requires, just start it. Just start it. Like, I don't know, I just go back to this language thing, because I've been a practicing speaker. I grew up around it, but then I lived with non-natives for so long that it evaporated a little bit. And so I treaty with the language. I speak to it and I pray to it. Just like how we started out, I pray every day to have pity on me. I pray every day to help me. And then, with my other prayers, like praying for, like I've been praying for our tribal council. I decided I'm never going to call them down. I'm never going to ridicule them. I'm never going to criticize them, ever. I'm only going to concentrate on what they do well. And I'm going to pray for them every day. And when I can, I got their back. So like, what do you need? You want research? Okay, so our average life expectancy is 54. The average life expectancy of Wind River is 52. The average life expectancy of Fort Belknap for men is 61, for women 61, and 53 for men. So one of like our tribes here, you know, I pray that we can raise our average life expectancy to in the 70s. You know, it's 78 for the rest of America. And so look at, and at the same time I say the prayers, well, what is it? Why are we dying? You guys know why we're dying. You know, and addiction, plain old not healthy food, we know that. So concentrate on the things of healthier food. Concentrate on the things of drinking more water. Peppermint tea, you can grow your own peppermint and drink peppermint tea. And then you don't have to take high blood pressure medicine. You know, those kinds of things that, it's like renewal time. I'm just so excited. You know, I'm glad that you all joined us. You know, we're sponsored by the Noise Foundation. They just love Native Wellness Institute. They love our team, and and Sunday we will be doing the Power Hour for 1 year solid. Right before we got on, Jolene was they're making a poster, so we'll have it all over. Please share it. We're just gonna bring our team on Sunday because it'll mark the 1 year annual of Power Hour. And we've had so many people say that Power Hour, and we love you, Kitsikakom, and that's how you say I love you, that Power Hour changed their life. We've had several of our colleagues in British Columbia say that Power Hour saved my life. You know, and that's why we're here is, you know, our whole team, you know, we're here to be positive, productive, and proactive. And think about that when you wake up and you say to yourself, how can I be positive, productive, and proactive? And what can I do to take care of myself before I do all those other things about people pleasing? You know, because if you run around people pleasing, you're exhausted, you don't know how to say no, and you'll die young. So it's like, it's okay to relax. It's okay to be calm. It's okay to have serenity. It's okay to just have love and joy in your heart. And so, you know, I guess that would be the last piece of anti-advice is look at what brings you joy. Look at what brings you serenity. Look at, you know, I think what makes me curious, I mean, like I'm the ancient alien kind of, I love ancient